ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Meat Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on. We thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin. We here at Angry Me Production want to thank our sponsor, Mobile Notary Mindy. She's certified with the National Notary Association. She's also bonded and E&O insured. She offers a wide range of services including wills, powers of attorney, medical documents, healthcare proxies, living wills, certification of trust, assignment of personal property, HIPAA waivers, advanced healthcare directives, and 99 verification. You can find her on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Mobile Notary Mindy. You can also visit her webpage at texasmobilenotarymindy.com. That's TX, mobilenotarymindy.com. Thank you so much, and enjoy the show.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today on What the Hell, we have Max Turbin, and we're going to have a good conversation. I try to do the collab thing every once in a while, and some people message me, and they actually message back and actually want to on the show. I've actually had like a couple of people on that, and that I get everything ready, get everything set up, and they just don't show up. But we got somebody that actually shows up. So even though we took about 30, 45 minutes just to figure out how to do the audio on our end, and it was on my end. That's so sad.
Thank you very much for having me. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to come on here and to be a part of the show and to meet network with people and individuals such as yourself that are like-minded and have something on their mind, have something they want to say, and project it out there. And so here we are.
Yeah. So go ahead. When we were talking, you were talking that you worked for Peterbilt, right? Or you worked worked on Peterbilt. Okay, you worked on with Peterbilt. That's another thing that a lot of our listeners are truckers. Only because you don't have to do anything for like 18 hours or however long you're on the road and everything like that. So a lot of our listeners are truck drivers in some form of fashion. So that's our audience. So that's actually pretty niche on that part. So what did you actually do for Peterbilt? You just basically repaired the vehicles, the engines, and stuff like that?
I was master technician line. I repair everything. I wouldn't do anything trailer-wise. There's different division, different area. Just the trucks. But as far as the trucks go, I work on anything from trash truck, lumber truck, tow trucks, or semi trucks, ambulance, fire truck, crane truck. You name it, and it's class 8 or above. We touched it, we worked on it. Even things that weren't Peterbilt, we could get it in, we would always be able to find ways to get parts from the distributor right down the street. And Peterbilt, they're all part of the same company, which is PACCAR. PACCAR. So they're a large corporation. I really enjoy what I do as a mechanic or technician. And prior to going to Peterbilt, I went to heavy line. I'd worked on small engine for years. Automotive standard automotive, as I'll call it. Cars, trucks, SUVs, everything got this done. Owned a good year for about the first 11 years of the new millennium. Just outside of Kansas City, and was fortunate enough to sell. Opened up a couple of businesses after that, and then had another child. So I became full-time dad there for a while.
Okay.
And then I got work. As soon as I was available to do so, and went right back to what I was doing, and what I was good at, what I was doing, what I could make money. So at that point in time, working on vehicles, standard automotive, SUV trucks, small engines, money's not there. Not saying that it's not easy work, but the money's out there. Money, you want big money, you want other big trucks.
Really, is it that much of a difference on the pay, or is it just because it's a constant thing that you're coming into? I mean, you're always having to work on something that's. I mean, those vehicles are on the road almost 24/7. So, is it because of that?
I think the skill knowledge and skill set that required to even get into a semi or a vehicle, even a trash truck, not necessarily a semi, to be able to even turn that on in itself. Not everybody can do. You would think you go into and turn it on. In some cases it is that easy, but not in all cases. And while we're touching on it, this is something that I never knew and found out about. After years and years, and it still baffles me. Driving a semi truck, driving a trash truck, driving a furniture truck, your mover, anything large like that. Did you know that is considered unskilled labor?
Really? Because you have to test for it.
Right. You have to test for it. You have to have a special license for it.
Most of the time, you have to go to school.
Labor.
Yeah, you have to go to a school just to even because
just to get a $1,000 license.
Yeah, a friend of mine. All she does is she moves trailers, the camper trailers. Mm-hmm. She goes from one end of the United States to the other, delivering these trailers. And she had a test for that. And all she's using is like a diesel truck. So I didn't know that. It's still a lot of things like that considered like unskilled labor. It baffles me. I was like, no, you have to test for it. It's a skilled labor. You can't just, get up there and start driving.
Which is true. And to a logical person that can understand things in the way that they truly are. Yeah, you can't just get into a semi and start driving. It just doesn't work that way. If people have a hard time trying to drive an automatic transmission vehicle, let alone a standard transmission semi, and semi generally got three options. You got automatic transmission, you got standard transmission, then you got automatic semi transmission, semi-automatic transmission, what you want to call it. AATs is what they're called, automatic manual transmissions.
Yeah.
So
well, it still baffles. I heard this like weird fact. It's like you hear weird facts all the time. Then you look it up and you actually find out it's true. It's harder to be a florist in Louisiana than it is to be a lawyer.
Really.
There was this lady that she always wanted to be a florist. It took her 20 years because of the test.
To be a florist.
Yes.
I would never have thought that.
Me neither. That's the like bottom of the barrel. The only thing I can think of the reason why is because of Mardi Gras, and they might have some like poisonous flowers in that area in Louisiana because
I could see that being potential reason. But that's a long way. That's like
Well,
serious.
It wasn't because of the test being. It was just the test were a lot. From what she said, is the tests were a lot more in depth and harder than it would have been taking the law test.
Wow. So you could be a lawyer before you could be a florist.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a doctor at that point. You could be a doctor.
Well, yeah, I guess so. But
That's
it's
wild.
yeah, it's different states' bureaucracy on stuff. It's like Joe Rogan has this joke about there's more tigers in Texas than there is in the world, which is true. We have more tigers in Texas than around the world, and that's only
crazy.
because it's because we don't have an exotic law. You can have anything as a pet as long as you can take care of it. I mean,
it's Texas.
Yeah, it's Texas. But I was like, because I was talking to somebody because he was wanting to hunt an elk. I was like, well, if you can get on one of those leases, you can go hunt an elk. I was like, well, when is it in season? This is Texas. You can shoot anything that's considered an exotic. As long as it's an exotic, you can hunt it all year round. And the reason why that law is in effect is because we have a lot of private land in Texas. Most of our land here is like 91% private. And Texas is a big state. 91% of a big state. And it's mostly private. Wrap that around your head. It's weird. But, and most of the time when I ever, because I've talked to people, they allow me to come hunt on their land like that. It's like, oh, I got me a feeder and everything like that. You can go out there and get anything you want. I'm like, all right, cool. But I was like researching on stuff because you start listening to podcasts and hunting and everything. They're like, oh, you gotta try elk. Elk is like the best game you can possibly get. And then you look up your laws and you're like, how hard is it for me to get in? Not that hard. It's stupid easy. I was wondering if we even have elk here in Wichita Falls, in Texas. And
It's out there. You get to kill it.
well, that's pretty much, yeah.
Yes. One thing about this is one state that Bigfoot doesn't go to is Texas.
Yeah. He reaches in Oklahoma. Did you ever hear about the there's a city in Oklahoma. They have I think it's a Sasquatch hunt. It's like maybe about a year or two. City in
The elusive Sasquatch.
yeah. Let's see if I can bring this up so you can see it. Share screen. Select. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah. Hundobia. Okay, thank you. But yeah, that whole area, they're trying to monopolize on the Bigfoot stuff.
I don't get it.
There's a lot of things that I don't get that people get like interested in. It's like I had one guy, Steve. He MDK. He listens to my stuff all the time. Great guy. Had him on the show. He's an ex-Marine that was in the first initial invasion of Iraq, and he's technically, if you, he was in the biggest battle for that time frame, and he goes over the whole thing, and he showed pictures and everything. I wish I got pictures on the episode, but I showed him on my Instagram. And he sent me pictures and everything of the vehicle they got blown up. But it was like his third tour when he ended up getting blown up. And great guy. Love him to death. But he also said, it's like when talking about conspiracies and everything, because of the JFK thing, JFK's assassination, you don't say conspiracy or theory in the same sentence anymore. And that's because of the whole fact that, you know, it could be true. So we just call them theories on this show.
I like that.
Yeah, and because the way he explained is when you say conspiracy theory, you're automatically, you knock it down. Just by saying 2 words.
I think that there is truth to what you just said, because if you say conspiracy theory, they think aluminum hat wearing lunatic out of his mind.
Yeah.
Why? How many conspiracies or conspiracy theories have been proven to be true?
Yeah, even okay. I do the same thing with like Alex Jones. I don't listen to him all too much. I get like the clippets that he puts out and everything that people put out now because he can't put anything out. But he'll end up saying something that's okay. The biggest one that was completely funny and I thought it was a joke was they're putting chemicals in the water and making frogs gay. Turns out that's true. It's because the chemicals they put out ended up changing something in the dynamics of the frogs that forced that, because frogs are technically, they can switch their gender. They're one of the few species that can actually switch gender. We learned this through Jurassic Park when we were kids.
Or some from school.
Yeah, whatever. Jurassic Park. That's where everybody learns it from. Don't try to outsmart me with your learnage of school. Why I slept through most of it.
School's for stupid people who don't know anything.
You know, there is something to that nowadays because you start, but we'll get on that subject here in a second. But it was so strange that you're like listening to it, then you're like, that's not true, and you look at it again and you get it like reports. It's like, well, apparently, blah blah blah. That asshole was right. What the fuck? How did that happen?
Fluoride in the water.
Yeah.
You know, it's fluoride in the water. Now, the United States didn't start putting fluoride in the water after World War II. Nazis in Germany, in Nazi Germany, were putting fluoride in the water from 1933 until they no longer existed to a point. But even then fluoride in itself is a byproduct of whether you call it aluminum or aluminium, doesn't make any difference.
It's aluminum. We're in America.
Yeah. But I call it aluminum, but you never know. We got across the pond, they might be listening and watching. Who knows?
Yeah. They can fail horribly. I don't care.
They don't care. But we need a place to put this stuff.
Yeah.
So what better? A lot of water. You're not gonna. Who's gonna say anything?
Is that a byproduct of fucking aluminum? Learn stuff from other people all the time. Hell, one guest I had on, I learned that Muslims has a satanic cult. So,
satanic Muslims?
Yeah. It's what got him into his problems that he ended up having. The episode is Brian English is the episode, and he was talking about he had to go in and he was tracking down a terrorist, and they found him in this area. And when they went to the I say area, it's like a little town or something like that, little suburb. We'll just call it a suburb. That's the only way I can do that. Well, he went to the suburb to get this guy, and apparently the satanic Muslims already got there, and the individual that they were tracking down was in this big pile that was on flames. Yeah, I'm talking to a lot of, because I'm prior service and I can easily talk to people that are in the, we're a formal military, and a lot of my hosts right now are former military. But it's one of those things is once military, it's what do we call it? Friendship by trauma. Because we are all fucked by the government. Go ahead.
It's telling, at least to a point that you're not the first person that said that to me that served. And by the way, thank you for serving your service.
Oh, I was a cook. I didn't do every military personnel is like, oh, you're a cook? Oh man, we would have been best friends because I would try to get free food. That was probably about my extent. But it's one of those things that says I still served. I was happy about it. I love the stuff that I did. It's most of the time, most people talk about the bad things of the military career, but in all reality, I mean, right now I'm a factory worker. I barely go out of my town most of the time to go out. But when I was in the military, I've been to Europe. I've been in the Middle East. Although most of the time frames that I was over there, I was like, I've been in like horrible places in the United States to where I'm surprised I didn't get shot because they have the best chicken. Now saying that, I've been shot at when I was in Kuwait. And Kuwait, for military people, is like a vacation. You're deployed, but you pretty much don't do anything because there's nothing happening in Kuwait. It's super easy. But I got shot at picking up donuts. The way, and I've told this story like constantly, but it's a funny story. I have to go off base to exchange the dishwashing crew for a new dishwashing crew that they do 12-hour shifts. Well, I go off base. In the mornings when you do that, you also pick up donuts. Well, I pick up the donuts, put them in the vehicle, call security forces. They come by to do a bomb check. Just make sure nobody put a bomb in the donuts. And basically, security forces are cops. So donuts, cops, it's funny. Anyways, they just put up these cinder block barriers, like huge towering things, almost like 2 stories tall.
Like big K rails?
Almost, yeah. It's as big as a 14-foot tall bridge. They're pretty stout. They're just in case when you put stuff in there and there actually is a bomb, it doesn't blow out everything that you have a secure area. That's basically all. Yeah.
Relative, loss are going to be mitigated
exactly
as little as possible.
Well, what had happened is we weren't allowed to go off base for a week or so because an Egyptian plane had broken down. At that time frame, United States and Egypt did not have, we still don't have like good relations with Egypt. But the plane broke down, a bunch of Egyptians, there was riots downtown, all kinds of stuff. Kuwaiti government was trying to take care of it. Somehow they got a vehicle and they were driving by the base, which is like far away from actual civilization. And most bases are contained in a central area just because it could be attacked, civilian casualties type deal. A lot of governments do that, even ours. Anyways, well, they were driving by and their lights were off, and I was like paying attention to like my surroundings like I'm supposed to. When I'm looking at this, I was like, hey guys, you might want to move back. That car doesn't have any lights on. And if I was in the ghetto, I would think there was going to be a drive-by. Sure enough, they start shooting up everything. They see us. They start shooting at us. And luckily, we had these barricades, so we were perfectly fine. Security forces come in with the Madus, just mowing these people down. So that me as a person that doesn't believe that, hey, I don't want to be in these situations, so I'll just become a cook. I ended up getting in firefights. I have friends that were in infantry, and I was like, oh, you were in infantry? How many fights did you get in? Oh no, we didn't deploy that much. You're an infantry. You're like the tip of the spear type stuff. It's like, yeah, weird. Went in as an infantry, just bust up my knees. Oh. You got shot up as a cook.
You were like Steven Seagal.
No, I wasn't pretending to be a Navy SEAL, and I actually can fight. There's so many stories about that man, about Steven Seagal? Yeah, how horrible of a person human he is.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of negative things about Steven Seagal, and I would just go back to my childhood and watch like Hard to Kill, and what was another one? Shit,
What was the one with Damon?
There was nothing Steven Seagal movies, and that's all I watched.
Under Siege. That was
Under Siege. Yeah.
Did they have a sequel to that?
Yeah, Under Siege. Yeah. Yeah, the train.
Oh yeah. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, I'm the same way. You hear like horror stories from somebody, and then you go back and you're like, how can you get that false flag? I guess it's like most of the people that were villains in movies. You think that the kid that played Joffrey from Game of Thrones, nicest kid you could possibly meet. But dude, did he play an asshole?
Man, he played the biggest asshole. He was a little. I'd be a motherfucker every time I watch. Son of a bitch. Hope somebody poisons him.
And then it finally did. You're like, yes.
Yeah, I didn't feel bad at all. I didn't feel bad.
Oh, I was yelling yes when he was getting choked up. Like, oh, I was like, is it happening? Is it happening? Yay!
They got him.
They got that motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
That
was best.
I heard they're coming back. Not this year, next year we have a new season, so that ought to be exciting.
Yeah, the House. I couldn't get into the House of the Dragon.
Didn't like it?
I here lately, I've been pushing myself to start reading more, so I can actually, because it feels like I can't pay attention to stuff anymore. I don't know what it is. If I go to like a movie theater, totally fine. I'll watch the whole movie. But if I'm sitting at my house and everything, I'm so connected with stuff that I tried watching, what was the last thing I tried to watch? Baller. It's a series on Max with
Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, good show. I kept on fast forwarding a lot of stuff because it was just boring to me. It was like for the drama stuff, for some reason inside my head, I'm like, boring. Seen it, understand it. It's gotten to the point to where if I see stuff like that, I know the outcome. I know the reason why. That it's not like it's boring to the point because XYZ. It's boring to the point to where I've seen this. This is the outcome. I understand why they're doing it right now. This is the reason why for this episode. It's like I'm a big Supernatural fan, but there's a lot of episodes on there I can't watch only because I know it's just a filler episode. It doesn't pertain to the storyline at all.
Empty calories.
Yeah, but some of them are really good. Like the one where they go to a town that has a wishing well, and the bear offs himself. Do you ever keep up with Supernatural?
It's a show that I recently just found out about. And I know it's been on like 15 seasons.
Yeah.
So it's been on forever. And I just started to get into it. And so far, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to, it's one of those. The last show that I actually watched was I guess you could say, was the 100. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not.
I couldn't get. That's another one that a lot of people. Yeah, that's a lot of people. A lot of people said good things about, and I just couldn't do it. The only shows like right now that I'm like really into is like Reacher. That's a good one. What was it? Watch Invincible, mostly on Prime. God, what was the other one? There's another one that I just. Oh, Lawman, Bass Reeves story.
That's one I want to watch. Yeah.
Dude, it's really good. Really good. Yeah,
Yellowstone's another one I want to watch. I've heard good things about.
Yellowstone's a good one too. 1886, I believe, or 1883. That was a really good. That was just a mini series. It's only 8 episodes and that's it. And man, is it good.
Do you have to watch one in order to understand the other, or watch it separately? I get it.
Oh, you can watch it separately. 1883, you can watch separately. Or let me find out what it's actually called. Yeah, 1883. It is just a miniseries. It's a one shoot. It's what had happened was they did one episode to set it up on Yellowstone, but it was like a different time piece of it. It was like 1884 or 6 or something like that. It was way in the future the spot they did it. But with 1883, you get it. If you ever want to know what being a pioneer in that time frame was like, watch that show and you will be like, oh fuck, they had to do that shit. And you research the stuff, is like they went in history on it, and it was pitch perfect, spot on what they had to go through in that time frame to go from one side of the country to the other. It was really good.
Yeah. You think about it. Even now. We've modernized highways, rail, not used as much for transportation of people, much as it is of goods. But imagine trying to traverse through mountains, across rivers. You've got
streams, just streams. Not even rivers. Rivers are huge compared to a stream or
just make that correct. And then I haven't feel what I can, familiar with 19th century, what happened in the 1800s, be able to traverse from one side of the country to the other side of the country. I would say it's probably more different than what they had to do in order to get Europe across the ocean. To get here, because you know what you're going across the ocean to a point. You got water.
Yeah. Well, okay. you have. I think both treks are difficult.
Mm-hmm.
One, you're staying on one spot, basically, but you're moving to the location. But you're still having to deal with the biggest problem that we have today, and that's nature. Weather, if your navigator doesn't know where he's fucking going, get ahead of iceberg.
What? I heard this, and whether or not it's true, I have to do a little more research. But the guy that's out there on the lookout for the icebergs didn't have the binoculars because the guy downstairs needed them more.
That wouldn't surprise me, honestly. What's really strange is like reading up on like serial killers and cults, and that's my main bread and butter for the podcast.
Yeah.
You just
It's fascinating me.
Yeah.
Not because I idolize him, where I want to be a serial killer trying to take some like, hey, this motherfucker got caught because he fucked up. He did it too close to home. No, it's not that at all. It's just trying to figure out that mentality, what it takes to do crazy, nasty, awful shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole reason why I ended up like talking about it. One, we had a sports show, and my next thing was like, well, how are we going to get women to listen to this stuff? Because if it's just sports, we're mostly going to have guys. And I started doing research, and I looked at it, and I was like, most women like to listen to like true crime stuff and everything. So I was like, okay, I'll do the serial killer stuff. No big deal. I started looking at it, and I'm like, it's the cult thing that really got me. How a person of right mind can start believing a person, and they do. Here's a fun fact, and I used this fun fact just recently, like this morning, because a friend of mine was talking about Eric Tansey from Failure Stop Podcast. He was talking about how his Brazilian jiu-jitsu class is not a cult, and his wife thinks it's a cult. It's a good joke. He's also a comedian, so it's a good joke. But I told him, I was like, you do realize that Jim Jones convinced straight men that he will fuck the gay out of them. And I was like, that's going off a lot. I seen an interview recently of a guy that was in the cult, got out, didn't drink the Kool-Aid or Flavor Aid. If you want to deep dive, it was Flavor Aid, not Kool-Aid.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, he was cheap. I'm killing these motherfuckers, and they're not getting the high gray shit.
Killing them, taking all their possessions, all their money, everything they ever had, everything they ever worked for. Then you get the fucking can't even get the name brand fucking Kool-Aid.
I would be in where I'm at in the afterlife going, you fucking cunt. But anyways, literally goes on camera and it's like, you had to been there. He convinced me that he could fuck the gay out of me. I'm like, no, he didn't just say that. No, how do you convince a person? I mean, that's a nat 20 with a nat 20 with a nat 20 in D&D on charisma check from a bard.
People try to pray the gay away.
It worked for that one guy.
I don't think it's working.
It worked for that one guy.
One did it?
There's this meme on on TikTok, or it's a short wherever. Someone sends me this thing. It was a guy, and he's like, I prayed the gay away. I'm not gay anymore. And it's a black guy, and in a, I guess, a popular church down in Georgia. And it's just, you can just Google it. It's a constant clip. Let me see if I can find it. It's so funny. Apparently, you can do that. Let me see here.
Why should look at that if I had a physical therapist tell me that he wants me to envision healthy.
Do you believe that?
Hold on. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to pause it.
No.
No. You keep on going. It's still going to take me a little bit of time just to bring it up.
Well, this physical therapist, medical professional, has got a degree, it's on the wall, getting paid money for it, like presented because gives credibility. Wanted me to visualize having a normal leg. I said, what?
Are you serious?
Yeah. He's like, I want your studies have proven and shown that positive results can be made if you visualize having a healthy leg again. So let me ask you a question. What are the chances that if I visualize having a big bag of money on my couch when I go home every day that it's going to happen? He looked at me. I said, that's about as much as I'm going to get out of visualizing my leg being okay again. I'm not going to roll away, be able to do anything for this leg by the power of my mind. Not because I'm mind, but because I'm fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm like, how long should I try to mend the stare at ghosts like this? I can stare at it while I think about it, or is there a better way? I mean, what blindfold me doing? Hyperbaric chamber? What are we? You fucking idiot.
I'll get into it after this one. This is so funny.
The Lord tonight has set you free. Yes, sir. Turn around and tell those people. Tell them. I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more. I said I like women. Women. I said women. I'm not gay. I would not date a man. I would not carry a purse. I would not put on makeup. I will love a woman. Now listen, y'all praise God with him.
He's gay. Shit.
Oh, dude. They caught him afterwards, and he's like, I went back. I'd like to pee.
I'm still gay. It didn't work. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Do you think there's much stigma right now? I don't think there's my opinion, but like when I was growing up, being gay was like taboo. You know, like don't ask no military type. I mean, it was you can tell somebody gay didn't have it advertised. But it was nobody like talk about it. Never out nothing that you advertise for yourself or advocating for yourself. You didn't want to get clowned on the shit out of. But now it's the exact opposite. If you're not gay or some kind of third gender doesn't exist, you're just a regular guy. This is a waste of time.
Well, okay. Here's the thing about that, and I've been on this podcast, and it comes up every once in a while. And I'm like, are you advocately against? I was like, no, I don't care. If it's in your house, it's in your house. I don't care. As long as it doesn't come into my house and ruin my way of life, don't care. And if I have a lots of gay friends, they come to me and like, hey, I need help with this. Okay, sure. I'm not gonna stop you. I'm not gonna not be your friend. I'm not gonna be a caring human being because, you've seen a dick up close. That's not me. But it's getting a lot more publicized because everybody can talk to everybody at any point in time. They can spill out their dirty laundry all the time if they wanted to, and lots of people can see it. And a lot of people that want to feel a lot of people want to help out other individuals. No matter what. We have that in our DNA, and some people don't have it, and it's a small percentage, and they end up being serial killers or just people that you don't want to talk to. But in ourselves, we all want to be helpful. And sometimes that helpful mentality gets us in trouble to where we overstep other people's bounds.
Would you say that would be the famous cliche, no deed goes unpunished?
Somewhat, yes, but it's one of those things that we're talk about it and forget about it type thing nowadays.
Kind of like mass shootings.
Mass shootings are one of those things where there, up until the Columbine High, there was actually a couple of mass shootings.
Oh yeah, of course.
But that was prevalent. That was nationwide news because it had a weird story behind it. The other mass shootings that happened didn't have a good story behind it. And that's what a lot of people, they ask me, is like, what do you watch the news? It's like, I don't watch that type of entertainment, because that's what it is. It's entertainment. And it's really nowadays when they actually come out and say, it was like, I try to do like news, but I'm more entertaining than I am a news person. I'll give you what facts and everything that's in the story, but I'm going to do it in clown suit.
Right.
And that's the reason why when I have people that like want to talk conspiracy theories and everything, or just theories, I like to say sometimes, where are your facts? Well, what documentation do you have to back your stuff up? Like if I had, and this will probably never fucking happen, is having a flat Earth on here and talking about the world being flat. It's not flat. And what's really bad,
I'm not disagreeing with you at all. It's there again, one of those nonsense conversations that you know if you know anything about history, if you've ever heard about the Greeks, the Assyrians, the Sumerians, all these people realize we live on a round planet. Now, is it possible for something to be round at the same time? Have you ever seen a quarter? Yes. But if we go the firmament according to the Bible, we do not live on a fucking snow globe. You know what I'm saying?
no, yeah, I totally got it.
They didn't put all these other planets and make them into circles. They're not out there because they're circular and we're like a fucking square. We're like a pizza. No. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It does.
But
there's people that believe this shit is true.
Yes, and it's ridiculous. And I've actually, I talked to one guy, and he was like, "Yeah, the Earth is flat." And I was like, "What about Mars?" And they're like, "No, Mars is a circle."
Mars is round.
You think Mars is a sphere, but the Earth is not? How do you go about your life? Well, they've proven with my other friends that the Earth is flat. We have a community. We're in the hundreds right now. but we are growing with our knowledge, sir. I'm like, Jesus. Okay, yeah. All right, whatever. You go on that. But we have a time frame now that, like, if you say something that I agree with, or I kind of agree with, like, you think, and we'll just go on a limb here, that the Chiefs is the greatest team known to man. I'm going to have to disagree with you, depending on the region I'm at. Say some horrible things about the Kansas City Chiefs. Just chunk my phone in the corner. I don't even recognize that you say something. You, on the other hand, are furious because I said such things, and
you want to take that whole next level because of it.
Yes, exactly.
Like you're ready to fucking Google me, find where I live, come to my house, and
scorched earth. You're scorched earth right now. You went from, hey, how you doing, handshake, to like, well, carpet bombing sounds like a good idea right now. But on the other hand, I don't even get that. I'm not even nowhere near. I was like, what I said was funny. But here's the thing. You're in the carpet bomb area, and you're having groups of people come up to you saying, you know what? I like the Kansas City Chiefs too. Let's do this. And you get people with ideas. It's like, hey, we can. I've got connections with DMV. I already got his address. Wink, wink. We could make a delivery, and you start getting more people. It's the same thing that has dealing with cults. I mean, every time I see like a timeline like that where everybody's starting to agree and everything, I just think cults every time. I don't comment on a lot of stuff, but I keep on thinking. I see these stuff as like, this is cult mentality. These are people that want affirmation, being affirmed that they are being listened to, because they don't get that much. That whole I'm not saying anything to those people that are overweight in their basement typing away. But that's the general idea, because those people generally don't feel a connection with the rest of the world. And they want that connection.
I agree. I think a lot of it also has to do with the fact that at this point in time, for whatever reason, maybe COVID and lockdowns have been a precursor to it, where people became places to the point where maybe I can just sit at home, do this, and be just as well off as I would be if I got working my 9 to 5 or whatever the case may be. Whereas somebody that was one thing like myself personally, if I had the opportunity right now, and I did a little over a year ago, I would be 100% out there still doing what I was doing. And this would be more something that I did as, I wouldn't say a hobby because I take it serious. If I'm going to have a conversation with somebody, I want to have a good conversation, and I want to be able to bounce things off with others. I actually have to agree on everything, being able to agree a lot more. I telling what it is, just be a yes man and always have the same point. So right now, sensationalism is what I'm seeing a lot of, and the notoriety that comes with sensationalism goes against what narrative actually is. Makes no sense to me personally, but it's what people want to hear, what people enjoy watching for whatever reason. Maybe they want to challenge it, but it doesn't make any sense. If I tell you up and down and left, right, and run his back, and you agreed with me, what does that tell you about me? Not so much about you, but what does that tell you about me?
You have a
It would
pretty
tell me
mouthful
that
of
I'm a
words.
fucking idiot.
Yeah. It's way you can convince a person too.
But that's called mentality, just like you said.
Yeah.
You've got to be really good and really persuasive in order to get somebody to fall in line with something. But there again, you've got to understand what it takes in order to control somebody. Controlling somebody is easy. It's simple. What you do, basically, here's a real quick lesson. You talk to them.
Yeah.
You find out what they like, what they want. And then you give it to them. And what happens after that is they become dependent on you. When they become dependent on you, and you have what they want. They'll do whatever it takes to get it. Whether it be recognition, whether it be money, whether it be whatever.
A pat on the head.
Exactly.
Or a POB, pat on the back. And yeah, I mean, there are people out there that you have the narcissists. Sure. Their whole world is if you. The best way to think about it is, and the best way to actually figure out if a person's a narcissist is, or and a lot of people say controlling. I mean, you use different acronyms for this stuff. I don't know if I'm using acronym right, but anyways, it's to the point to where if you disagree with a person's view and they drop down the hammer and start, it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. I've seen this on XYZ. You can't be right on this because of I've seen this on the interwebs, and the internet's always right. I thought I had cancer one time, and turns out I just had like a kidney stone. Internet can be wrong. I thought I was literally dying of the symptoms. I was like, I got this. Well, I'm dead. I mean, a lot of the roads, if you look at the symptoms, leads to cancer and dying. A simple cough.
That's it.
Caused us to be fucked for a couple of years.
It's insane. But that's the mentality some people have. It doesn't make any sense. But there again, I don't think like that. I don't think you think like that. I don't jump aboard the fucking hype train or
Are you sure you're not on a hype train? I mean, you're wearing a MAGA hat. Come on, man.
I didn't say that. I've had 16.
No, but it's one of those things that it's depending on what area you go to. You wearing that hat you could get your ass kicked.
I've had some interesting
conversations.
Yeah. Nobody.
Okay.
And there again, the people that have ever come at me sideways because of my act were either misinformed by the mainstream media or simply, they were just people.
Yeah.
People exist.
But I've been to a person that they had everything was almost the exact same style on the hat, and you read it and it was just a funny one. I forget what it was, but it was the same style as that hat. And I was walking with them. I looked at the hat. I chuckled, and was about to go about my business. And some lady was like, "I can't believe you would wear that hat in public." I was like, "Ma'am, read the fucking hat." No, I don't have to read the hat. I mean, like, I'm literally not a scientist, but scientifically, if you look at the hat, you would probably laugh. And it was totally opposite what it was. It was like make my backyard green again.
Green again.
It was something ridiculous.
But nothing that had anything to do with politics, Trump.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then why finally she like, I can't. And just the realization that she knew at that point in time, she was being the asshole of the group. I was like, feel like an asshole, don't you? I read it. I had a little chuckle. You are pissing your pants because you're so pissed off at something that's fake. Can you? And then I went off. If I see something like that, if I see someone getting attacked, I defend that person. And then I was like, well, sir, you're in a situation here. I'm going to help you out a little bit. And I was like, sir, you can leave right now if you want to. Or you can see the show. And it's going to be a good show. And he's like, I want to see this show. And I was like, tell me a good reason why you don't. Because I'm still to this day, I'm still trying to figure out what, other than his X's or tweets or whatever you want to call it nowadays, what he says on the internet. I mean, I've read his stuff and it's like, man, this guy's an asshole, but he has some really good policies. I'd still vote for him because of his policies. That's what I look at. I don't look at the person because the person could be a total dumbass and idiot. Even though right now that's what we're going with right now is there's a total idiot in the fucking sandbox and he's destroying the country. It's just as much propaganda they want to push out. You can't stop that fact. There's too many facts that are up on the internet that are showing that this guy can't do his job. And that's what I look at. Even when he got voted in, I was like, well, maybe he might actually do a good job. And the first 2 weeks he failed horribly. And that was just yeah, and it's just been like everybody's like, oh, he fell down his slopes. No, he's never stopped, honestly. He never stopped doing that. And did Obama have, some good policies that he put in place? Yes, there was some good policies. Not the greatest, but there was some decent policies he implemented that I like. Is there a lot of stuff that Obama did that I did not like? Yes. Fast and Furious. Operation Fast and Furious was the stupidest thing he could possibly done.
That was a conspiracy for a long time.
Oh yeah. And then the documents came out. I was like yeah, the documents came out.
We really did that.
Yeah,
it backfired so bad on us.
What's really strange is Bush. That was actually a plan that Bush administration tried to implement, and he axed it, and he forgot to throw that fucking document out in the trash, and Obama came back with it, and he's like, "Oh, that's a good idea," and started using it. That was actually a Bush plan from the administrations to do the same thing, almost word for word. So you can't really go as like, that was a stupid plan. So Obama, no, Bush administration made it up. But Obama, as a person that just said okay and ran with it, and that's what happened. Now, was Trump a saint? No, Trump was not a saint. The tariffs that he put on China fucked our farmers, the apple farmers, really bad. Because Washington State was sending apples to China, and because those tariffs, there was too much of a tax on it, so they can make a profit. So they started selling to the neighboring state, Idaho. Idaho ended up getting a surplus because they couldn't sell their stuff. So we had like too much apples, and there's a couple more that I would have to. You could fill up a show how much stuff Trump did fumble the ball on, especially at the last part of his first term. He did listen to the wrong people. He ended up pushing out way too much money, and then the next administration followed suit, and When looking at it, I still to this day, I'm like, at the beginning of all that was happening, I was like, I'll take the money, but this is gonna fuck us bad. And there's people out there who's like, I'm getting money and everything like that, and not realizing how bad it's gonna fuck us. It was nice, but it's not nice now. I mean, I go for $50 to go to the grocery store and I get like a couple of things.
Yeah, it's not like you do. Not even close. Not even close.
Yeah.
Being independent in many ways that under Trump, there will be energy independent. We were exporting energy. $2 gas station. That was cool. I didn't mind that. Mean tweets. Don't care. Nothing that he did. I can't think of one thing. The only thing that I didn't agree with. I mean, fucking taxes. Who gives a shit? People are going to find out how much money they do.
And most businesses don't because of a lot of the loopholes.
But that's business. And he understands better than most people understand business.
Yeah, especially some of the people that actually go into the office.
And that's the other thing for Trump to go into office. He's in the office. He didn't need the money. He never even took a salary from what I recall.
Yeah, he signed off and sent all that to like a charity organization, which now that I think about it, I think he owns the charity, so you think he's still getting paid. I don't know what the charity organization he sent it to.
But he wasn't hurting money.
Yeah.
He wasn't going off longer than money for 4 years, Ukraine, and
well, yeah. I mean, Biden did that in his vice presidency, not his presidency. Which a lot of the stuff that nowadays they're trying to push out as well, it's just propaganda, really. The whole, I mean, for the longest time, the laptop was faux pas. You couldn't talk about there's learning about stuff that I'm allowed to talk about on certain platforms. Like YouTube is one of them that I can't say certain things. And it's just words. The C word cunt, I can't really say. I'm not getting monetized, so right now I can say it. Later down the road, I'm going to have to change a lot of my wordage and everything. Obviously, I can't use the N word, the hard R. I can't use. If I want to do an episode that's trying to help prevent suicide prevention, not help stop suicide prevention, but suicide prevention, I can't use the word suicide. It gets flagged. It gets flagged to where I can't make that much money off of it.
Suicide prevention and not being able to speak to it would defeat the purposes of suicide awareness.
Yeah. Well, it's like that one was kind of.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right.
Demonetized on YouTube.
You're not demonetized. You're yellow flagged to where only supposedly only adults are able to see your information that you're putting out. So you got less of a money coming in.
Not easy to get on YouTube.
It's. I mean, right now I think. Let me go into the stats. I can. We'll have fun with this one. Hold on real quick. All right. I can go with the stats. These are the stuff that to actually get monetized on YouTube, which there's after the different ways. Just don't, put yourself in a box where The only thing you're going with is getting monetized on like YouTube and everything. But
If it's going to happen.
yeah, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Now, for the eligibility, I have to have 500 subscribers, where it used to be like 4,000. So they cut that in really a lot. You had to have like 4,000 subscribers. No, you had to have 1,000 subscribers. But so they cut that in half. May take up to a week to update. So, and their stuff to update and everything. Sometimes they can get like a comment from an episode, like a snap of a finger, and sometimes just to get an alert from it, it takes a while. The watch hours, you have to have 3,000. It used to be 4,000, so they cut that to 100. Or if you're doing the shorts, you have to have at least 3 million views on a shorts, which is like 15 seconds on a short. So it has to be like a lot. And that's all you have to have. Honestly. You just have to have you have to upload a video every 90 days to keep it up. So you have like 3 months you can update a video. You have to have 500 subscribers. You have to have 3,000 watch hours. Which, hey, I've been doing this for 3 years. So I haven't reached that yet, and I hope to get it, but I'm not really it happens if it happens type deal.
Right.
I love doing this as a hobby. I love talking to people. I get to reach out with people that I normally wouldn't, or people I've heard, and I was like, hey, I'd like to talk with you. I got X, Y, and Z. Would you come on? Sure. Awesome. And I have people that just like doing podcasts, and they'll just come on and because they like doing them. I mean, other than the fact that, what was it, Dana White? What happened with him just recently?
With Dana White?
Yeah, Dana White. He's the
UFC?
Yeah. He was on not the Howard Stern, Howie Mandel's podcast. Within 30 seconds, he's just like, you know what? I don't want to fucking do podcasts anymore. And he just walks out.
Just like that.
Just like that. Howie Mandel was like propping him up. It's like, hey, you're a great person and love your stuff, blah, blah, blah. And you're gone. You're walking away. Howie Mandel was like, what the fuck happened? What the fuck happened? What did I say? And Howie he's, I know he has OCD about germs and everything. He's a germaphobe.
Very much. He'll try to get his hand.
Yeah. I had to stop myself. I was like, hey, Howie. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thumbs up. Good. Okay. Yeah. But great guy. Very, very nice. Very kind. Very generous. Wonderful person. And I saw that. I was like, I know it wasn't Howie. It had been something to do with Dana. So, but I understand he's trying to probably like prop up stuff. And if you see like interviews of him for his UFC stuff, he does not, I don't think he likes doing media stuff. Honestly, if you look at like his mannerisms and everything, I don't think he likes doing media stuff.
Yeah, I can do that. I think there's definitely a big difference between when he first started off and where he is now. Dealing with the media and dealing with the media. I get tired of it too, honest with you. Especially on that type of level where you got to deal with so many different.
Everything's underneath a freaking. That's one thing I'm not worried about. Is like being like super popular and everything because I like being noticed. It's kind of cool for a couple of seconds, but after that, it's annoying as fuck. And you have people, especially the stuff that I end up talking about and everything. You have people like I have people send me stuff that it's just like the latest thing someone sent me was the new Pizzagate.
The new pizza gate.
Yeah. And I sent this to another big podcaster, see if they can get any kind of information on it and send it to me back. Because I was doing research on it and I got to a stopping point, and I told him where I got to a stopping point. And he was like, I'll look into it, but if you don't hear back from me, it's because I couldn't find anything. I was like, hey, that's all you have to give me. But what it was Etsy was selling pizzas for like $4,000. Buy this pizza, $4,000. Obviously a scam. And then you look at, and people were saying, I was like, well, it could be like because they're human trafficking. What was it? Wayward or the furniture place? The online furniture that did the same thing. Anyways. And come to find out, they actually did have those things on the website on Etsy, and Etsy took them down because they felt that the price was overshot, and it was a red flag. And there's a lot of people that went like super crazy about it, going, "Oh, they're doing human trafficking and everything." It's like, well, Etsy's basically like a flea market. Best way you can say it. I mean, there's the simplest term I can say about it is it's a flea market. You put up your wares that you made. Etsy takes a cut for you being there. Basically, put up a stall. They take a cut. Some places like $75 to set up a stall, and you're there for like 3 days. Hey, more power to you. If you make your $75 back, you make your $75 back. But if you don't, you're not bogging down the system either way. They're going to have like red flags like that to where, well, this is weird. We're going to take this down. And they took it down pretty fast. They took it down so fast that the person sent me that. And he went to the website 30 minutes when I clicked on it. And when I clicked on it, it was gone. That's how fast they took it down. So they knew they had a problem.
$4,000 today.
Yeah. And people were like, can you believe Etsy allows? I was like, Etsy didn't allow this. They took it down as fast as possible. So it wasn't on their end. So it's more or less, and trying to explain this is like trying to teach a child not to put their fork in a light socket. Because no matter what, you're gonna have like websites that let you open in, sell stuff that you have a product on. eBay's the world's worst, where you don't read something and you end up buying a PS3 box because you didn't read the whole thing, and they literally stayed in there. Hey, I'm selling this PS4 or a PS3 box. And this actually happened. They were selling a PS3 box. They're putting it up for auction. Who wants to buy it? Literally said, XYZ, this is just a box. I am selling only the box. If anybody wants to buy this box without the product inside. He went into so description to where if you were a lawyer, you couldn't fight it. And he sold the box for $4,000. Yes. Were the other people upset? Yes. Because they saw something, they clicked on it. But he made $4,000 and the courts couldn't do anything because he went and he backtracked. But you're going to have those things.
You can't make it up.
No. I've seen too many stupid stuff that I'm like, are you surprised about this? I was like, no. And am I surprised as if like some of the people that come up with like crazy theories and everything? I'm like, that can't be real. And I researched and it is real. Like, what was another one? Like we'll go with the Pizzagate, the original from Alex Jones. I mean, yes, it wasn't Pizzagate, but was it still child trafficking? That's why I go in and I'm like, okay, we have this whole big fireworks display, but why is there a couple of flashes in the background out of nowhere that the fireworks aren't at? Someone's getting shot. You have this big display of entertainment happening right in front of you. But if you look in the small corner, you can see someone getting shot. And that's where Alex Jones was trying to be entertaining. That's what he goes with the big explanation that doesn't make any sense. But if you like get rid of all that shit, you're like, wait a minute, is there child trafficking going on and nobody's saying anything about it? And there was.
True story.
Yeah, but another thing was the whole thing with JFK where the conspiracy theory word came from. We now can confirm that it was actually our own government that killed JFK. Only because the documents came out, which should have came out like a little later and someone was suppressing it. Trump suppressed that stuff because he was advised to. Then they had the retard come in and he was like, oh, yeah, go ahead and let that out. I don't care.
The same guy that surplus of munitions in Afghanistan.
It wasn't surplus. He didn't give that to them. That's all weird. Even though he, God, what was it? What was the number when they finally figured? What was it, like $5 or $6 billion worth of equipment that he just left there? Which part of the military, yeah, you do that sometimes. You just leave stuff there, but you dismantle it. I mean,
usable.
Yes, to a point. Look at the Gulf War. The first time that we were ever in the desert. I did a little research after the fact, watching God of War, because there was a segment that after the Gulf War, they left like M16s, like factory, like big facilities of M16s they just left there. Yeah, that was true. The guy literally sold them by the pound instead of by the rifle. That's how many that was there. He sold them by the pound instead of by the rifle. Yeah.
No different when the Union fell apart and all the arms are readily available to anybody who want to buy them.
Yeah, that was... After you see how actually it's like the Wizard of Oz, when you peer behind the curtain and find out how it really is working and everything like that, and you just like, fucking really, this can't be. I mean, y'all have to have some kind of common sense. At least. But some of the stuff that people come to me with, they're like, can you believe this actually happened? I was like, some of the stuff I'll listen to and I'll look at, I'm like, that's a little far-fetched for me. Until like I get like documentations and everything like that to prove it right. I'm gonna go with no on this one. Like, no, but I got I was like, well, the government would do something like that. You're not wrong, but you don't have any proof yet. That's where we're going with what you're saying, especially if something's like stupid elaborate. Like you would have to have like everything going in connection go off without like the 7th building explode being demolished by the CIA. And I hear how how like it was done and everything, and different person's point of view, and I go against the grain just to make it more plausible. There is so much stuff that it had to go right, and knowing like human beings, everything goes wrong. That's why you always have a contingencies plan. You always have it's like we're gonna have to have a way out because nothing's gonna go right.
No, it's true. So many, for the 9/11 attacks, however you word them, there were so many things going on behind the scenes. I've heard things from individuals. Assad was involved. Some maintenance on towers shortly prior to the selling of the assets and the insurance. It was gain on properties, etc. Triple quadruple indemnity. This happened, and for things like that all happen on the line. You gotta know something's not a coincidence anymore.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff on the stuff that I have to research. It's you can't believe it's true, and sometimes it is true. I mean, you can't believe it happened that way. I mean, there's especially I keep on bringing up like the Ant Hill kids. It's a cult in Canada. And one of the things that was unbelievable to me was a mother left her child out in the cold so the child did not get as abused as the mother was getting abused, because the guy that was the cult leader was like hitting people with a hammer and breaking their legs because he felt that they weren't listening to him. But instead of going away from that situation, running away from that situation with the child, she ended up leaving the child on the cold. And I couldn't believe it. Because if it was my child, I'd be like, well, I guess we're going to do violence today. That's where we're going. I'm going to protect my child. And if anybody stops me, they're going to be put down.
Sure.
Or I'm going to stop breathing because I wouldn't be able to handle it. But there's things I just can't.
I'm there with you.
Yeah. I was like that TikTok thing where they did, they asked mothers from the North, I was like, would you kill for your kid? I don't know about killing. I'm not sure. No. But you get some mothers from the South. It's like, what's the time frame of I actually being able to legally do this? Because it's going to happen. I just want to know a time frame or how much time I'm going to get in jail. I just want to know of how long I'm going to have a vacation.
There's different mentalities. Certain things. Certain offenses are unforgivable. Certain actions that are done in order to try to remedy or justify that unforgivable offense are absolutely justified.
Yeah. Like the whole thing right now, which part of the country's, I still can't believe they're doing this. And I can believe that certain parts of countries are taking to extreme now. Like the whole pedophilia thing right now. There's parts of the country that are like, oh, it's a sexual orientation. No, it's not. No, it's not. and you have like Florida, where it's like we have an extra chair where we can just like inflame them.
But at the same time, it's crazy.
You're getting a little bit low.
What about now?
A little bit higher.
Right now?
A little bit higher.
How about that?
Yeah. Okay. There you go. What do you think about that though? When you hear something like that, to it's most people that are actually like decent humans when it comes to like children and everything, they don't want any harm coming because they feel the innocence right there. But when people want to go against children, what's your thinking on that?
I have no pity for them whatsoever at all. And the best place for them is away from me. Because I will show no mercy if you dare to, do anything bad to a child. Look, I don't care if you have mental issues. I don't care if you have a shitty day. I don't care if you got abused as a child. You don't do things, children. You just don't.
Well, what gets me, and this actually happened to me at one point in time, was the fact that I was babysitting a kid, took her to the park, and we went to this park, and this other little kid comes by and says, "Hey, comes up to me and it's like, hey, can you push me on this swing?" I was like, "There's no fucking way." You getting an echo again? Got it?
I think I fixed it.
Okay, there we go. The kid came up to me, asked me to swing him on a swing. I was like, "No, I'm not touching another kid unless the parent's right there and says, hey, it's okay." Even if the parent says okay, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't know this kid. I don't know you.
Right.
It's uncomfortable for me. So I had the other child. I was like, "Hey, listen, if you're comfortable with it, could you push her on the swing? She wants to be pushed. Y'all could be friends." Doing this, I was looking around. I was like making sure. I was like, "Where's this kid's parents?" I was looking for the parent. I was like, "What's happened?" Literally, this is her, and this wasn't like that modern. It was probably around about 2013, 2014. She was on her phone. I looked at her. She looked at me, but she was like, literally, how she was. She was literally looking at her phone, looking at me, and then like a peeping Tom, but writing down all the stuff. And I was like, "Are you serious?" And finally, she's like, she got the courage to get up, but she was still doing the same thing. She was being a peeping Tom and typing on her phone. Being a peeping Tom, and she would like grabs her. I was like, "Ma'am, come here. Yeah, you're a parent. Come here. Is that your kid?" It's like, "Yeah." Get your fucking phone. Put it in your goddamn fucking pocket when that kid's there. And there's other people. She could have been kidnapped. I went scorched earth on this woman. I was so pissed off. I was ready to just punch this woman because I was so furious. I was like, "This is your child. You need to do this. You need to watch your kid." If I was a degenerate human being and not the upstanding citizen, I could have taken your kid, and there's nothing apparently you would do about it. You're that much of a piece of shit in my eyes right now. And she's like, You're right. I'm like, "Goddamn fucking Skippy." I grabbed the kid I was babysitting, and I grabbed her gear. That would be fucked up. I'm taking this now.
This is my kid now.
Yeah. I don't know what we're gonna do with it, but we're gonna figure this out. So
Asian kid's pretty good on the market, from what I understand.
yeah, you can get about 75,000 for a kidney.
Oh,
Not that I looked it up or anything.
but things you got to know if you're going to talk about it.
Yeah, all right.
Kids aren't cheap.
No. But their parts are. They're pretty expensive, especially those rich people. They want to keep their kids alive. That's horrible. But anyways, I just don't understand some of the mentality of some of these people, and I don't. Looking back, I don't think it's just something new. You just have those people that they shouldn't have kids because they're not in the right mind.
Oddly enough, I don't think that anybody should procreate until after age 25. Why age 25, you ask? Couple reasons. 25 is when the mind stops growing in theory, or slows down in growing. 25 is also an age to where you should be established enough, got all your wild, dumb shit out of the way, and you could probably look ahead, see the forest past the trees, and maybe be ready to find somebody with like interests that you could settle down with potentially and procreate. But it's not a knock against anybody that had kids when they were young. It's not that at all. There's plenty of kids that turn out just fine. But at least you, in my opinion, have a better opportunity by being in a better opportunity by waiting.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got accidental happenings.
It happens. Like I said, it's not a knock against anybody that's had children at a younger age. It's perfectly normal. It's fine.
Yeah, and some of those
norm for hundreds of years, for centuries, to have children at a young age. So
and some of those people step up, and some of them don't.
Right now, if you wanted to have kids, and let's say you also wanted to climb Mount Everest, get Everest out of the way first.
Yeah,
because after you have the kid, it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah, because it's just extra weight. You don't have to.
It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to have kids. That's another thing. People don't understand that don't have children. Before I had kids, and mine are grown-ish enough. Friends of mine that had kids, they'd always call their kids, "Oh, what the fuck's wrong with you? Fucking kids and shit. We're over here fucking around and drinking, whatever. Fuck your kids." And, they'd always get all sentimental and have pictures of their kids and this and that. And I never got any of that until after I had my kids. It took me, 30 years to be like, "Oh shit, I get it now." And I wasn't ready for the world.
Yeah, it's always nice to have proof that you had sex.
Yeah, it's just being able to appreciate something that you never really had any understanding whatsoever for at all, nor did you really care because it infringed on your fucked up kid time. So
now here's a good question for you. Now, do you like reminisce a lot about the times that you had when you're with your kids, or do you think about anything, the bad things that happened when you had the kids? What's the ratio on that? Because I'm always like, if I'm having a bad day and I just reminisce of something that me and my daughter did when she was younger, I mean, I'm good for the rest of the day.
When we had our son, I was still involved with my business, my Goodyear. So it was challenging for me in the sense that I wasn't able to be present as much as I would have liked to be. And then it transitioned into me selling the Goodyear, opening up more businesses, which made it more difficult for me to be at home as I was going back and forth traveling the country, picking up and dropping off vehicles as I acquired a dealer's license again. And I guess looking back at it now, we've got a great relationship, man. My son and my daughter, both of us. And I spent time with my daughter day one. I closed down my businesses just to be with my daughter, so I wouldn't repeat what I didn't do with my son. But the way the relationships both turned out, they, one doesn't love me more or less than the other one because I wasn't there. But I feel bad that I wasn't there because I should have been, not only as a father, but as a husband at the same time. So, as they say, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, but hindsight being what it is, that's definitely one thing that I probably, definitely would have done differently.
Yeah.
Just because I'll never get that time back, and I can go flip cars anytime I want if I decided to do that again. So.
Well, this is the same thing that happened with my dad and me and him recently, as we had a heart to heart because he was going through some things, and we were just he wanted to have like a long road trip, and we just went to go to like a we went to Army Air Force Baylor County football game in Dallas. It was the Armed Forces Bowl, and we just had a heart-to-heart conversation for the 2 hours going up there and 2 hours coming back. We were getting some stuff off of our chest, and he was like, "Hey, I'm sorry I worked so much when you were a kid." I mean, I went with him for a lot of the jobs that he was in the military. He was civil engineering. He was in the Air Force. I followed the steps with him, but doing a different path in the military. And but I also got that thing to where I wasn't gonna work as hard as he was, because he always had like a part-time job. He had like, at one point in time he had like 3 jobs. He worked for the sheriff's department. He worked for Pizza Hut, and then he worked for Target doing stocking, which is kind of ridiculous because he just could have made more money if he just did overtime at the sheriff's department, which is strange.
Likes people.
Yeah. That he is very much a people person. But we talked about it, and he was like, I always feel, I mean, this is the reason why I end up like giving so much to my kids as an adult is because he ends up like coming by and dropping something off I have no use for. I have hand warmers that I still have in the package they handed. It was like, oh, this is be good for you. I'm like, okay. And I'll just chunk it, and I'm like, I got hand warmers, and I'm cold. I'm being stupid right now. But he does that, and he's been having like troubles with his home life, to where the woman's crazy, narcissist, trying to control everything. She low-jacked him. He has like one of those Apple pod things that he has to carry on with him so she can track him. Yeah. I told him, I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen with me. If it does happen with me, she better be doing some weird stuff to me. Yeah. And right now, my whole family, they understand that I do not like his wife. And I'm very, okay, my brother-in-law is my friend from high school, and his wife is my stepsister, her daughter. And we get along fine. I mean, just recently, he was like, hey, man, I know you really are like anti-family right now. I was like, I'm not anti-family. I'm anti-certain people of the family. And he goes up, it's like, hey, I need my battery changed out of the vehicle so Callie can do her stuff. And I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was like, You called me at a pretty bad time. It's like, well, you can't do it. It's like, no, the place doesn't open for another 15 minutes because I had to change out my belt at that place. So I know the operating hours. He's like, oh, but I'll get it. Well, I'll pay you everything. I was like, don't worry about the money and everything. I'm pretty well off. I'll go do it. But it was just part of the family thing, and he just he couldn't. He kept on saying, "It's like, I'm so glad you did this. I didn't think you would. You hated it." I was like, man, my love for you is more than my hatred for those other people. I will help you out no matter what. But that's the stigma of a lot of stuff that's been going on with my life. Do I air it out online sometimes? Yes. Should I? Maybe not.
Sometimes it's one of those things you got to just think about and decide whether or not it's something that you feel comfortable airing out. For me to be on here, or whether Facebook, YouTube, either way, it's almost like therapy to me. So
yeah, that's
I
what.
air out, as much as I can. I can't say I haven't done any kind of cool shit, so I don't have any real awesome stories as of late. But I mean, there's certain things that, like, I don't know what should you not air out when you not want to broadcast.
Yeah, that's the thing about nowadays, to where the whole world can see it. If you're popular enough, it's gonna reach a lot of people, and a lot of people are gonna react to that. Either A, you cause a riot on accident, or B, you just get a couple of people thinking the same thing, and they start talking about the subject, and hopefully the subject actually either gets noticed to where it needs to be fixed.
Yeah. I was watching somebody on one of the YouTube channels. I like to watch some sports card stuff. I collect sports cards, so I listen to some other guys in that genre, and it's. I think that platforms like this, with regular individuals that live regular lives, yourself included, myself, etc., other like-minded individuals, and then you get to see the trend go on also with people like Dan Patrick or Stephen A. or Jason Whitlock, Colin Coward, etc. Whether they're sports individual or somebody else in entertainment news, they all are tending to go towards a platform such as this, to where they're not as censored as they would be where they're getting paid from their job, as long as they're not saying anything bad about their job. So platforms like this enable individuals to express the same type of ideals and same type of complaints, if you will, that regular people have, and they can relate to that a whole lot more than they can to some guy that they don't know, that they've never met, that they've never actually conversed with, that's telling them this, that, and the other, to where that doesn't carry as much weight or hold as much water as a basic one-on-one with somebody that's you have a whole lot more in common with a regular person on your same level than you do with a millionaire.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest open window type deal. When you open up the shades and you just see the light and everything. But the biggest part of it is not the because you can have like a conversation with the person, but not really I don't think it's like censorship. I think it's time frame. Because you really, when you're doing the same interview over and over and over again, and you're saying the same thing over and over again, it gets factory cookie cuttered. Because you only have like 15, 20 minutes with that person. Because they're doing like 50 interviews while you're only doing one for that instance. So you have to say, they sometimes they literally hand you like a script. It's like, this is the stuff that we want you to talk about. Make it fast. Now on something like this, to where we're going on. We have only met each other, probably about 3 hours ago, because it's 2 hours long, and it took us some time to get everything situated. We know each other right now. I'm not saying I'm going to come down to your house and sleep on your couch, but we have that kind of connection right now to where it might be plausible down the road if I have my car breaks down or anything like that.
Like, hey, I know Max and KC. Help me out. Hell, any former mechanic. This motherfucker might be able to fix my shit. I wonder how much he's going to charge me. I wonder if he's going to rip me off. He is Russian. Nah. I would never do that. But no, you seem like a good guy. From what I tell, I like to think of myself as a good judge of character. You ever need to sleep on a couch or a place to stay, you're more than welcome to come here, my friend. I promise.
I hate everybody, so don't expect that in return. I'm just putting it out there. No, I do that all the time. Okay. I do that all the time. There's certain people I won't have on my couch because I know them way too well. They extend their stay a little bit too long. Well, I'm totally opposite. People love me having them come visit because I'll be like, "Hey guys, I'm out of here. You just got here. Yeah, I just needed like a 15-minute nap. I'm on my way. I'm
on the road.
Yeah." But it's that type of conversation you have with a person. What's his name? Theo Vaughn. I like listening to his podcast at the time. Surprisingly, I don't like listening to him when he has singers on or he has other comedians on. Some of them, it's pretty funny and everything having them on. But the ones that I like to listen to, it's like he had like a New York City garbage man on. Fucking loved that episode. It was weird. It was something I wanted to listen to. It was an interesting subject. He's had a truck driver on. He has like weird people with blue collar people with everyday jobs on the show. And
I think that's what people like to see because they can relate to people like that a whole lot easier than they. You know what I have in common with Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid or Brett Veach or any other Chiefs player, member of the organization, etc. I have one thing in common with them.
Most of the country hates you?
Besides that. we all like the same team.
Yeah.
And that's it. We don't have the same social status. We don't have the same economic status. We don't have any other commonalities whatsoever. Aside from the obvious, we're human beings. We live on the same planet that's round. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But aside from that, they're not going to go out of their way to call me and make friends and reach out to me any more than I am to them, because status and where you are socially is going to dictate a lot of where you're going to be able. You got to be able to stay in your lane and know what your lane is.
Yeah. Would that be kind of weird though, that you do get that phone call? And you're like, "Hey, yeah, I remember that one day we were pumping gas and everything?" I was like, "Who is this?" It was Patrick Mahomes. The fuck are you calling me for? Well, we met. We exchanged numbers. Did we? This is kind of scary now. That would scare me more than anything.
Meeting somebody like Patrick Mahomes?
No, not meeting. I'm the type of person to where if I meet you, like face to face, I've already hit my top of persons I've ever wanted to meet.
Really? Really?
Yeah, I met Stan Lee.
No.
Yeah, I got pictures.
You really met him before he passed away?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Let's see if I can pull this up.
So, tell me how much you love DC.
I am a comic book fan, so I hate to tell you this right now. No matter what, it's like crack. I love it. I love it all. There's a lot of different. I'm more of a DC fan than Marvel. But when when it comes around to it, I love the genre. There's a lot of different comic books that are really good, depending on what you want to read. I mean, sometimes I'll read Spider-Man because they have a good arc going on, and sometimes I'll read Superman because they have a good arc, or I read Batman because they have a good arc. It's depending on the arc, really.
I like them both.
Yeah.
I can't say anything bad about either one of them. It's hard to project what is in the comic books on the big screen, even with CGI, etc. It just kind of loses a little bit of, I don't know the right word is for it. It's not nostalgia, but it loses a little bit of that magic, I guess, that you get from that comic book.
Yeah.
And hold it. Oh, look at that.
Wearing a Superman shirt with Stanley.
That's dope.
What's really funny is
Did he say anything about you wearing the Superman shirt?
no. What's funny about it is a lot of people don't know he actually did write a Superman comic book for DC. It was like a Elseworld type thing, to where it was a new style of Superman. He did come from a different planet, but he was a cop and he was more rugged. It's actually a really good read. He did a whole it's Stanley Presents, and it's like he did an offshoot of Superman. He did the Trinity. He did Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. But he did it in his own various ways. Like Batman was a black man that ended up getting incarcerated for a crime that he didn't commit, became a pro wrestler, became rich off of that, ended up finding a guy that could do all of his gadgets and everything. And it was a really good read.
It
was very good.
Like comic books.
I don't do that much anymore. I have a couple of them that I've kept because they're worth a fairly good amount of price. One's damaged really bad, but it's still high priced. My grandfather ended up. It's in a security box right now in a bank, but it's Action Comics #1. But it's heavily tore up. But I would never sell it, even if someone is like, "Hey, I'll give you $300,000 for that." I'm like, no, it's the last thing my grandfather ever gave me. So it was one of those things I found. It's like, I collect comics. Well, you can go ahead and have that. And then later on in my life, I was like, I can't believe I still have this. I can't believe I have this.
I get it.
I think the last
sports cards.
Yeah, it's the same thing with sports cards. I used to do something. I used to collect Magic the Gathering, also. I mean, it's a playable thing. I loved the fuck out of it at the time. I still play it online, but it's one of those things that I'm not a person that likes clutter. So me collecting something's very, very odd. Like this whole spill is all my friends and everything. It's like, you have to have something in the background. You just can't have like a white background. So I put stuff more or less up there. It's like there's a metal box that I got from my dad. It says explosives on it. Boba Fett's the other thing I'm really Star Wars. I'm really animated about. I have a lot of Boba Fett stuff. Skeletor. I mean, this is we call this for our sports show. Whenever a sporting event touches us in a bad way, this is Bad Touch Bob, so we can find out where the bad team bad touched us.
Bob Ross.
Yeah. And hidden away is Captain Caveman.
Literally.
Yeah. I need to put him.
That's awesome.
I can see him. But yeah, I'm not much of a collector that much anymore. The other host, Johnny, he collects models and he does models. Of course, he's a big time Red Sox fan, so he has a lot of Red Sox in his background.
Living in Texas.
Yeah, it's strange. He said he's like a Red Sox fan ever since he was a kid.
My brother-in-law, he lives in Boston. Doesn't have that awful nasally accent, thank God. But he's been up there for like 20 years now.
Oh, really?
Fucking nothing. Winning this, winning that. Son of a bitch.
You know what you should do for, and this is anybody that's a Boston Red Sox fan, and this is what I'm going to do on Johnny's deathbed. I'm going to make sure that he has like a Yankees hat inside of his casket. If he listens to this, it's going to happen. I hope you die before I do, so I can do it. I mean, it's a horrible thought, but you know, he hates those pinstripes. He won't even think touching. A friend of mine gave me a Yankees hat to mess with him on the show, and I put it on the thing, and he's like, he grabbed like a pin. He looked around, grabbed himself like a pin and stuff, and he was just like tossing on the ground. He's like, don't bring that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I'll kick your ass.
Hates the Yankees.
Dude, it's a passion.
Yeah. I don't get that serious about any sports. Even the ones I love the most, I've never wanted to fight anybody over any. No.
I'm never really been much. I'll talk sports only because I learn basic facts on it. But never really been a sports fan, all too much. But I've heard some weird stories about people that got and this is only like I can't find the story anymore, even though I know about it. It was here in Texas, OU and TU, Texas University, and Oklahoma University, or TSU is Oklahoma State University. Big time rivals.
The Red River rivalry.
Yes, sir.
That was
They had we had like it's still called the Cotton Bowl, even though they don't do it at the Cotton Bowl anymore. And you know when the event happened is because there's a stretch of road that is full of traffic after the game. That's how many people go to this game. And this is in Dallas. It's that type of thing. The whole row of traffic for that day. Don't even go to Dallas that day.
Stay away.
Yeah, just stay away. It's that bad. But there was a story that Texas University fan went to a Oklahoma State University bar, and he was just saying stupid shit, and he ended up getting his balls ripped off.
When you say balls ripped off, do you mean that figuratively, or do you mean more of a literal, like, no
Guy
balls here?
went down, grabbed his scrotum, and pulled enough to where the man was left without able to give child anymore.
Wow. That's a fucking pretty serious grip there.
Yeah.
That guy must work out his fucking arms like a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, to rip off somebody's balls?
Yeah.
Like that's like Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Fucking Patrick Swayze ripped out his fucking thorax. But this is balls through jeans and shit.
I don't know the whole thing. It's just I know the news article.
I'm gonna imagine it's through the jeans and everything. He just took the jeans, the bras, the balls, everything.
I mean, yeah, that would be pretty powerful.
Like a finishing move in Mortal Kombat. Like finish him, just fucking balls and shit just hanging.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard, man, doing like correction officer stuff and just weird stuff, and people end up telling me weird stuff. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of aura that I put out with people. They'll end up telling me like weird stuff. I had a person that I was in the Air Force, and this woman that I was working with, we were talking and everything. We're having just, honest God conversation. And this is the time frame. It's kiss no tell type deal. And she confessed to me that her and her husband does like threesomes, and you couldn't do stuff like that at the time frame in the military. I was like, yeah, I go to San Antonio, visit my husband and everything. We have threesome with other women, and it's so good and everything. I love it, and blah, blah, blah. And then she stopped herself. She's like, what the fuck am I telling you this? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
You don't. No.
I literally was like, I don't know, but I'm curious for this conversation to keep on going.
Are you propositioning me in a subtle way?
Is your husband?
Because if you are, it's working.
It's one of those things. It's like, well, is your husband cute? You know what? Never mind. You're cute.
like if you proposition me for this three-way,
where am I at?
An observer, or is he gonna like want to try to?
Is your husband a cuck?
Yeah.
That would be one question. Is where there's like several questions you have to ask in that situation. One, is your husband a cuck, or am I just going to be watching? Two, where position am I going to be at? If I'm going to be the middle, not happening.
Or it could be something totally out of left field, like, he's a quadriplegic and a double amputee. Plus he's blind and deaf, and he only likes to read Braille. So I write everything in Braille after I'm done to tell him how it was, and he gets off on it. All right, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, he'll be in the other room anyway.
That's oddly specific, but okay.
It's never. I just had to go with it.
That was oddly specific, but funny as hell. I'm like, that's pretty. Could you imagine that you have a 3D printer, but the only thing you're printing out is like video porn, so your husband can get off?
Can you do that?
Yeah.
But
They have, dude. You've never seen the Braille Playboy?
What?
Yeah, Playboy at one point in time had a Playboy that was Braille. It had push-ups, pop-up.
Like scratch and sniff without the smell.
Yeah, pretty much.
So like a Braille titty with a Braille nipple? With a Braille areola? Because everything's got to be a little different, texture of Braille. You don't want to, I don't want like a 2,000 grit sandpaper, then move over to an 800 grit sandpaper. Then titties like a 60 grit. You're like, oh fuck, titties sucks. But I love the nipple at 2,000. You know what I mean? But the 60 grit titties are a piece of shit. But the 800 fucking areola is not bad.
That's it.
Oh shit. You got little nipples there then.
Yeah.
And so you get a you touch all the
yeah.
And then you get a read about what her favorite
pastimes are, her likes and dislikes, wherever they used back in the day.
I bet you that was a pretty good seller.
It's probably
How many other people like putting something like that out? That's revolutionary. That's genius.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to I mean, this is what it looks like.
I almost wish I was blind at this point.
I mean, you can learn this stuff.
Just so I can get the braille.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It says the same thing. It's just bumpier. You know? But that's what it looks like. Weird stuff I find online.
I would never even thought that.
Yeah.
Somebody actually thought about that and put it into practical use.
Yeah. Someone told me about that one day. I was like, that really? I mean, that's pretty effective. And the internet finally came out, and one of these days I just remembered that whole conversation. I was like, is that real? And I looked it up, and yes, it was absolutely real.
When the internet came out, see, this will give. See, I was born in '77, so
I'm 1 year before you.
Do what?
I'm 1 year before you. After you.
1 year before me.
After.
So you're 78. So
Yeah.
we're right there. We're Gen X, I think.
Yeah, whatever they want to call us. Assholes most of the time. But yeah.
The last generation before all these fucking shitheads had taken over.
Yes. I guess you would say that, yeah.
So growing up in our generation, and I don't think it mattered where you were, whether or not you were in Texas, whether you're in Kansas, whether you're in fucking Oklahoma, Florida, doesn't matter, New York. You might have a few things that are different, but one thing that was all the same is we didn't have the technology. You know, technology was something that, you know, if you had it, it was a luxury. Like if you had a fucking Atari,
it was a big time luxury.
Yeah. If you had an Atari, shit, everybody was at your house.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's playing that shitty game. The Nintendo came out, etc. But otherwise, you'd be outside, fucking around with your friends, riding bikes, doing shit outside. It got dark. That's when you knew you had to be home. And then the internet came out. And when the internet came out, I didn't realize it until I was like Jay and Silent Bob. Figuring out when the internet came out, like, what the fuck is that? And that's how I felt. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean internet came out? And like, yeah, you can fucking get online, you can do this, you can find that, you can search this. I'm like, bullshit. And sure enough, like a caveman, I came out. And I was, computer? They were showing me the internet. I'm like, damn. I couldn't believe it. But then I said to myself, no, if it keeps up like this, there's going to be an entire generation that grows up fucking fed off this shit and grow up to know nothing but this shit and won't be able to fucking survive without it.
Here's a strange thing. Here's a strange thing. What the Unabomber? In his manifesto, as much as crazy as it was, and I'll put it down. He was fucking nuts. You can think you can thank MK Ultra for that shit. and his some of the points in his manifesto was true.
Yeah. And you know, I'm not saying anything bad about his rat fucking brother, but. If it wasn't for his rat brother, I know he recently just died as far as Kaczynski died, but he would still been doing the same shit. He wouldn't have stopped.
Yeah.
He would have been up there just fucking making bombs, sending bombs off, blowing up some people, maiming some people, killing some people. And I'm not advocating that, or what he did was right. I think if what he should have done, was as smart as he was, instead of killing people, was just fucking take all their assets. That's where you hurt them the most.
There's a guy that actually did that. He wanted to be the ruler of the. He didn't want to be ruler of the world. He was the emperor of the world. That was his belief structure. And I think he took like $200 million from the U.S. government. And he's in prison in Florida right now. He's in federal. But yeah.
Is he the ruler of the cell block now?
He is. What's funny is he's a lawyer, or he was he's still technically a lawyer because he does practice law inside the cell. He gets people off and everything.
So he's a jailhouse lawyer now.
Yes, he's a jailhouse lawyer basically. And the only reason why I know this is because I found this podcast with this guy Matthew Cox, and Matthew Cox was a mortgage fraud. He dealt with mortgage fraud. And now what he does is he can't touch anything in that financial space anymore. He does artwork, and he also does YouTube channels, and he also does true crime novels. Because he actually talked to the people, and he had to get you got plenty of people to get the crime stories from. How they did it. He did one over the what was that movie? War Dogs. About those two people that
sold all the what was it? The guy with the fucking.
It was 7.62 rounds is what got him caught.
Yeah.
That's what got him caught because they falsified the documents and everything. But
they were going through the government and fucking. Of course, Russians were always involved. We got Russians involved.
Yeah.
Anytime you got 7.62.
Actually, it was China. And the movie aspect, it was they got the ammunition from China.
That's the one with the Miles Teller and
Jonah Hill and Bradley Cooper.
Okay. No Russians this time.
I think there was a little bit of Russian aspects into it. But anyways, but he was in the same prison with that guy, and he was there with the guy that ended up thinking he was the emperor of the world, and he wrote a book about this guy, and that's what he does now, the Matthew Cox guy. He was also with the guy that tried to fake his own death and failed horribly. Because I think he was doing the same thing he was, mortgage fraud. And he was trying to get away with it by faking his own death. He set up this plane to crash down, and he forgot to put the body inside the plane, and his girlfriend ended up ratting him out. But yeah.
How are you going to forget to put the body in the plane?
Priorities weren't there, man.
Like you got a little checklist you're going down, like, all right, got this, got that. Oh, shit.
I think that was his
checked off the body in the plane.
I think that's what that was his mistake, is he didn't do a checklist.
It could have been the when you leave out that one little detail that could have been the stupid.
Because I need a checklist just before I go out of the house, and I'm always checking. It's like nowadays his phone. I got my phone on me. I got my wallet on me. I got my modern day rape whistle.
So you got as you get older, and it's true. I would never thought this shit 20 years ago. The little things start to slip a little bit here and there. Like, I should better play. Yeah, I got it.
Dude, I have to go by my house every once in a while. I have to turn back around, make sure I lock the door.
Yep. You're not the only one.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
And that's what we're here for. Yeah. We can have our own little stuff there. But I've kept you for like two close to 220 hours. 2 hours and 20 minutes. So we'll go ahead and cut it off on that. Go ahead and you're gonna have to send me your channel information and everything, and I'll put it up in the description. But what's your channel's name?
On YouTube?
Yeah.
I want to say it is. That's the facts. Russian Jew Max.
That's funny. I love that. That's the facts. Dude, that just rolls off the tongue.
It does. You know, it's long-winded, but it sounds eloquent at the end.
No, okay.
I know we never got to the conversation that you mentioned. When
I wanted to talk about the Putin Tucker Carlson thing, but what?
I'll tell you this just in retrospect, real quick to touch on it. What Putin said in the history lesson that he gave to Tucker Carlson was probably the most telling thing that he could have done. And what he revealed by doing it is basically saying that in no point in history was Ukraine ever independent from Russia. It was either the breadbasket of Russia, the breadbasket of Imperial Russia, the breadbasket of the Soviet Union. But there are such things as Ukrainian nationals that are bad actors any more than you have domestic terrorists here, whether they're called the KKK or Black Lives Matter, makes no difference. Same exact thing. And the reason the war is where it is twofold. A, not listening and breaking promises and moving the borders of NATO closer and inching closer to Russia, but that and the fact that there'd be no difference, just like in the Cuban Missile Crisis. Nobody liked the fact that Russia had nukes in Cuba.
Yeah.
Nobody liked that. Nobody would like it now if Russia decided.
But yeah, but the whole reason why they did that was because we were putting missiles in Turkey.
And Italy.
Yeah, in Italy. Yeah.
And nobody ever talks about that part of it. They just make Kennedy out to be some kind of genius hero that saved the world, and that's not the case at all. U.S. gave up way more than Russia ever gave up. And Russia, not Russia, the Soviet Union at that point in time was able to do what they did right underneath America's nose. And they didn't even know it until it was too late. And by that time, it cost America two locations where they had strategic nukes.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it just comes down to the warnings were there, the infringement towards the Russian borders. It's just, they had enough of it.
Yeah, because all this stuff. What surprises me with the whole thing is this wasn't even in. Everybody was talking. It was like, oh man, the Ukraine-Russian wars. It's a new topic. It's like if you're in 2014, they were. He used the Warner Group a lot of times as a proxy. It wasn't proxy war. It was actually war stuff that he did. But it was one of those things. It's like the three administrations actually touched on it, and nobody did anything about it until like this last one. And we're just basically giving money to us to give weapons to them, and that's the only description you actually do it. We're not actually. That's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is a lot of people are like, oh, we're giving them money. I was like, technically, we're giving ourselves money to boost up the economy. That was the whole thing. That's the reason why they're doing it, is because the economy is in a slump. They needed to get money to the U.S. and get the government money in such a way to where they were giving money to the war engine. And then that war engine was giving weapons to Ukraine. We actually, we did give them money, but they give them money to. This is the most ridiculous thing that I ever heard of. So they could support their retirement funds for some of the people. and that's annotated fact.
I wouldn't give him a penny.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people are all upset about right now. But we've always given like a big. I mean, what was it? I want to say Nigeria, but I'm not entirely. It was a country in
West Africa. We just gave a shit ton of money.
yeah, and all for and the stuff they put on there is ridiculous. They literally put on there just put whatever you want on there and just give them the money, and they put on there for
Gender studies and facts.
yeah, gender studies and facts. I'm like,
with our money.
yeah, I would
didn't sign off on that shit.
You could at least put something believable. I mean, if you're trying to be intelligent, it's like we're gonna get this over the U.S. tax paper, and you see that I'm like, you gave them for what?
I don't even know what to say about it.
Yes, it's like, are you serious? You know what? I know criminals that are better at it than you. I mean, honestly, I mean if you want to be assholes and just say, we're giving this money and there's nothing you can do about it, that's the way to do it. But if you want to do it to where we don't ask questions, it's like, hey, they're having a problem with, we'll go with maternity. Their maternity, the women there can't really, fund themselves. A lot of men have died due to some kind of unseen virus or whatnot, and we're trying to take care of these kids. There's a lot of orphans. There's a lot of war. You could have done that. I would have been, oh, okay, that seems reasonable. I don't mind being the nice guy, but fucking gender studies, are you that stupid? I mean, even people that are like, I almost guarantee
men and women down to a fucking T at this point.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee people that are like, transgender and everything are looking at that going, no, what are you, stupid? Even the people that are, that's the commonality right now is we're looking at the government, the administration right now, and we all hate each other's political view, but right now we're looking at it as like, we got to get him out. We have to do something about this place. It's not, I was like, well, it's the devil you know or the devil you don't type deal right now. And the devil you don't, I mean, we already know. Yeah, we can keep this going. I don't care. But there's a lot of stuff that he was talking about. Did you listen to the full thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I know there was some truth to it, but most of the part, and a lot of people are against Tucker for doing it. And I think it's just, honestly, to me, it's just jealousy. If I could go to Russia and talk to
interview Putin
and interview Putin, that's like, hey, did you do this? No. It's like me being an astronaut landing on the moon, talking to a person that's a F1 racer. The F1 racer is like, man, I did this race. You know what? I did this Land Rover on the moon. How fast were you going with that? Oh man, that rocket was going probably about 2,000 to 3,000 miles an hour. I know the pressure when it's going
7 miles per second is the escape velocity of Earth.
Really?
7 miles per second.
Still, that's fucking fast.
So you could be from New York to LA in 8.5 minutes.
Jesus, yeah, fuck. But yeah, could you
space? People think space is like. I asked my kids, I'm like, what are they teaching you fuckers in school? And I quiz them like, how far away is space? About 1 million miles. It'll take you forever to get there. Like it's 62 miles away.
Yeah. It's not that far, but it takes a lot of pressure to get up there.
Yep. And the only way we know how to get there is fuel.
Yeah.
A lot of fucking fuel.
Yeah. Well, pretty soon we might be getting into. There's a lot of stuff that's happening right now that's interesting. Like we almost have figured out ion engines, which that's an achievement. And if you don't know ion engines, just look it up. I'm not explaining that shit because I don't know what that fucking shit is.
No, I've looked up a little bit of it. I'm trying to stay on top of all the hydrogen energy and everything else that they're trying to implement. It could work.
Yeah.
It could work a lot better and a lot quicker than this electronic shit that they're trying to push.
Yeah. A lot of God. Hey, it's like the new batteries they might be coming out. It's something to do with sulfur. And it's a new.
Because they went from the lithium ion to the lithium polymer, and now it's going to be.
It's something to do with sulfur. That's what I remember. And they were having troubles with it, and they figured a workaround with a couple of atoms to switch it out. But it's been a long time since I read anything about it. But the new battery is supposed to be a little bit more. It's supposed to be more highly efficient and longer lasting. And hopefully better for the environment because that lithium cobalt shit's fucking for the birds. Anybody tells you that China's a good person, look at the cobalt mines. Just that's all you have to do.
Yeah. No. If you don't know what you don't know, then
yeah. When you peer like I always say, if you peer behind that curtain, sometimes you're like, oh, we're doing, and it's our country too. There's a lot of stuff that our country does, and I'm like, really? That's how. I mean,
I just want to see our country taken care of first. I hate to sound like a nationalist or
I don't think it's nationalism, honestly. It really isn't. It's patriotic. It's all what we want to take care of the people that we know, and a lot of times that's what it comes around to. It's not nationalism. Nationalism to the extreme is
like Nazi Germany.
Yeah, to the point to where you take orders and you take out a whole entire race of people. Which apparently, have you been hearing through the ether that another new third party has come up and they're actually thinking it's a new generation of Nazis?
Nazis are out there.
Well, yeah, Nazis has always been that. Nazism's still out there. I mean, it's big in
100%.
South America. But there's a new, they're literally the new political party that's coming up. And our system of government is totally opposite to Europe's system of government, where a left-leaning person there would actually be a right-leaning person here. And the right wing over there is the left wing over here, and that's their political views and everything. It's totally flip flopped. But what's strange is you think Germany be the one group that's like, no, we know what Nazism and fascism is and nationalism is, and this is the way you're going. And I don't even think I want to hear like Nazi news groups in English language, of course. I don't know German. And them talking about when people say Nazi and this is fascism, and then they're like, no, I don't think you know what that means. I don't know. That is not fascism.
Hardcore nationalist, hardcore fascist.
We go to fascism. You not. This is just child's play. You don't know what you're talking about, because a lot of the times that they talk about fascism, I'm like, man, or nationalism. Nowadays, depending on what you say, like saying you're a nationalist. I honestly, I just think you're patriotic. You love your country. You love the people in it, even though some of them, act stupid or do stupid stuff. You still don't want any harm from those people, but you want to hopefully guide them to better themselves and better the country. And that's what a lot of people are trying to do in this country. And I've agreed with people that are on the Democratic side. And a lot of people are like, I can't believe you've done that. I was like, listen, if you look at all the details of what someone's saying, it's actually a really good idea. Like for a time, people that are like tree huggers were like, I can't believe they went in extremes, like tying themselves to a tree.
Literally.
Yeah. But don't you want to, go to the faucet and not have it on fire? I kind of want that.
Yeah. It takes a village.
Yeah. But I just hate the extreme part of both left and right. And a lot of the people in this country are with that.
Not having any middle ground just doesn't seem realistic, but that's somehow it is.
Yeah. And the one thing that it gets me when it actually, looking on this, I think it's not real. I mean, there's some people out there, I'm talking like a low form of those people, both left and right, that are so hardcore they can't listen to reason. You have to actually I was like, hey, listen, here's an idea. We get someone that can talk to the left side, someone can talk to the right side. They have like a common ground, talk to each other, and then they talk to the extremists, and hopefully they can come to some kind of bipartisan.
You know what? I agree with you 100%. Not to mention the fact that I think you already mentioned the guy that would be perfect for it. Who is that bridge, you ask? Joe Rogan.
He's already, well, you're right, but it's one of those things.
I mean, if you think about it, who does Joe Rogan talk to?
He talks to both sides, yeah.
Every fucking body.
Yeah.
He's talked to Elon Musk. He's talked to Roy Jones Jr. He's talked to Mike Tyson. He's talked to, in his career, he's talked to a lot of people. He has studied a lot of things. He's a very intelligent man. He is an individual that I would emphatically trust to put in a position to make a deal or to make a compromise or even simply to negotiate anything. He seems like he can get it done.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I mean, there is a lot of people that a lot of people don't know about. That, I mean, my go-to with negotiating something for like value money and everything. I mean, Trump's a good one, but there's another one that a lot of people don't talk about. It's Patrick David Bett. He's been on Joe Rogan. He has his own podcast. He has his media company. He has he's well off. He's pretty well off. He doesn't have to do a podcast. He does it because he loves it. He loves comedy. He loves, all the stuff. He's done the same thing. He keeps his stuff more right, but he has like Chris Cuomo, whatever his name is. He's had him on the podcast. And if you don't know, he was a very high-end Democratic person that was on CNN for the longest time. And
little controversy here and there.
Yes. And when you actually...
Your brother's no longer the governor.
Yeah, some weird thing about that. I think it was the nipple rings. Honestly, I think that's what got him out of the. Was that what got him out of office? Was the nipple rings?
As crazy as this sounds, yes.
Okay.
Not all dead people from COVID.
No, it was the nipple rings, man. Come on, now.
Ring.
I mean, yeah, some things you might want to hide, or they kick you out of office. Nipple rings. Jacob's ladder, another one, and nipple rings. You want to be able to go through a metal detector.
Killed thousands of people.
Yeah.
Don't worry about them.
Yeah.
Nipple ring. What?
Yeah.
Like a plastic straw in Cali. Fuck that.
Yeah. But he's another one. But the only thing about him is he's more. Hearing him talk at times, it kind of sounds like a used car salesman at times. He's making his point on the reason why you should buy into his stuff. Which, if he can do that, hey, more power to you. That's awesome. But I think you are right into the fact of you want to hear things out on several sides before you make a decision. And you are right where he is a cooler head, and he's the type of person that he'll let you know he's not smart enough to do something. He'll find somebody, and hopefully he doesn't do what a lot of can't even blame one administration with this dumb shit, but multiple administrations, talking to someone like Fauci. God, have you read Robert Kennedy Jr.'s book about him, the real Fauci?
I've read some excerpts from the book of what Kennedy said about him, and I'm just like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and mind you, there's stuff that was like Robert Kennedy. I honestly can't stand his voice.
You could say it because a lot of people who don't know Robert Kennedy's background, other than being a Kennedy, the son of Robert Kennedy Sr., who was the brother of John Kennedy.
Yeah.
Robert Kennedy Jr.'s vice for 14 years was heroin.
Yeah.
So yeah, 14 years addicted to heroin. He's on the straight and narrow. He's got, I forgot what the name of the disease is, to where he talks a little bit slower and it's a little bit of a slurred speech. But in all honesty, he's a very intelligent man.
Yeah.
I don't believe he needs to run for president. I don't see a purpose for it because he's not going to win.
Yeah. It's one of those, but it is one of those people that you look at that. Tulsi Gabbard is another one. I mean, yeah. I mean, both of them, Robert Kennedy and Tulsi Gabbard, at one point in time, did go up against Second Amendment rights, but her decision in doing it, it's totally understandable. It was an emotional knee-jerk reaction, and anybody in that situation would do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because her husband was murdered by a person with a firearm. And when you see someone wielding an axe, and you think all people that have axes, even though I have one on my wall, I'm going to end up using that axe to murder somebody, and that's your knee-jerk reaction. Now she's changed her stance. People change their stance. Do I think that she would be good for presidential office? I was voting for her when she first did it. Honestly, she seemed like a really reasonable woman. But DNC decided to go for an idiot instead of an intelligent person, and wanted to go to that was the thing about 2016. There's a lot of the people that wanted to go up against the system. And nobody wanted to vote for her. I think it was like Tulsi Gabbard was one, Donald Trump was another one, And right now, it's Donald Trump and Robert Kennedy that are their whole trying to get into the office. It's going up against the system because right now we've seen, it's like what I tell everybody else. I love my country. I hate my government because that's what's fucking us.
Too big.
Yeah, when you get to be so large to where you stop looking at the people as anything as like money. I mean, that's all we are. As much as a lot of there are people in Congress, both left and right, that actually care about their job, aren't taking kickbacks. There's a, I think he's South Carolina or North Carolina, that he's a Democrat, and listen to him talk and everything. He's pretty good speaker, and he puts everything out. And he, from what I've gathered through all the information I'm getting from him, just because I was trying to get him on the show, is he's a decent human being, and he just takes a pay cut from whatever funds he gets from doing the job. So it's just not like that. That's one thing I love doing on this is if a person's like big on right side or big on left side. I got some friends that just don't give a shit either or. I mean, we need to do that. We need to talk to, just have a decent conversation. It's like, hey, I know we're coming from a bad place, and I've tried to talk to people that I had an extreme leftist that literally was so left that he was racist, and it didn't make sense to me. And it was that Georgia ID thing, and I was trying, and I didn't record it, and we were having that conversation because Georgia just enacted the whole voter ID, and it wasn't just the voter ID thing. It was, they still had a mail-in system. You can still mail in your ballots. You can still, they worded it and did it just a way to where, yes, you have to have your ID. We have to verify that it is you. Same signature that's on, your mail-in ballot is on your driver's license. And that's really all. Texas has the same thing, and we have a little scan thing on the back of our IDs. They scan it, they verify it, boom. I don't even think they look at the picture, so you don't really have to. It's really not that secure, in my opinion. But I have that same thing, and I was describing everything is like, well, what made it the most racist thing is like, well, people of that color can't get IDs.
What?
Yeah. I was like, how do they get jobs? Oh, I'm like, he was just saying the most racist stuff, but he was for the black community. I was like, dude, you do realize that all the stuff that you're saying right now is really racist. I was like, well, even the jobs. It's like most people of that are black, they can't get daytime jobs. They have to work nights, and they can't get up to do, to vote. That's the reason why they're doing that. They're only making it a certain time frame. It's like, well, they still have to mail in ballots. They can still mail in a ballot if they register through their courthouse or online. I mean, I brought up I went through like news articles and everything, and every one was either right or left, and I had to go to the actual bill itself and read off A, B, and C of what the bill was, and every comment that he was saying to back up his way of thinking was the most racist stuff I have ever heard. I was dumbfounded. For a person that... Go ahead.
No, I apologize. I was going to say just, it reflects poorly on his, I would say on his party, but it's more than just that.
Because most of them aren't
Trying to
doing that.
sensationalize the opposite of the narrative that you stand behind and expect people to believe it when it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird of how people are like describing this stuff. It's like the newest thing is this congresswoman in California. She's trying to bump the minimum wage up to $50 an hour. And yeah. She's like, well, I've had a business, and I understand. I was in, so they went in and looked up of her business because it was online. They looked at the pricing of how much they would get paid per hour, and it was $17 an hour for most jobs, bottom of the barrel. And it's like, so this woman isn't at any point in time giving her employees $50 an hour. Because it would destroy the economy so bad. Yeah, I think it would probably be more or less. It would end up like most other countries. Their monetary value of their dollar is weird. Like Japan, it's like 75,000 yen equals like $17. Why don't they just call it 17 yen? But they do it like big scale. I mean, even rubles.
Yeah, rubles, same thing. I got a million rubles. Oh, you got $100.
Yeah.
Million rubles. Not a lot of money.
No.
You got a million rubles. You got a lot of nothing.
What do you think about Tucker Carlson's portrayal of him doing like McDonald's over in Russia and the supermarket, comparable to like, do you think that he was forced to do it, or do you think he did it and he just wanted to do a narrative on it because of what's happening here in our country with our inflation?
I think that he wanted to take advantage of a situation where he knew that he would set an example, almost a precedent of sorts, by doing what he did do, and showing that he's not fucking around. He's not. He's not going to lose this war. The only thing that's keeping Ukraine afloat right now is the United States, CIA, and it's just a matter of time. And I've said this before somebody's checking the numbers out, realizes that we've given way too much money for way too long, and that shit's going to stop. And as soon as it stops, this proxy war for nothing is going to be over.
Yeah, because we've already given up like $160 billion right now. Which is, and most of it's not even, I mean, some of it's been stolen, and they've proven it.
Yeah, it's
$25 million yacht. Come on.
It's nonsense. It's nonsense. As a taxpayer, I'm sick of it.
Yeah. I mean, when you pay like 30% on the dollar, and that's where your money goes to, sometimes we need to, as a country, as it go up and look at who we're allowing to run it, but we're just too lazy. Yeah. And that's the honest God's truth. We're too lazy. A lot of people don't. It's like they'll get upset about something and thinking someone in a higher office can take care of that when they can't. Like I had people. It's like, I'm going to talk to, because I went to this our local congressman's what do you call it, to raise money, but it was just to support him by giving him a little bit of money for his election campaign fund place. And I've had people come up they were talking to me, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to talk to him about this issue that literally is in the town, and all they had to do was talk to like the local councilman." I was like, "What?" And I brought it up. I was like, "Why don't you talk to the council? He's not going to be able to do anything." Well, he has the. I was like, "You have the ear of the councilman too." City council, go up to the council department, and they have like a town hall every Tuesday, because I used to watch it all the time, and sometimes it was funny because someone had like, I wish my neighbor's dog would stay on its leash, but it doesn't, and it gets in my yard and has the shit. I mean, it happens. You're gonna have those people, but everybody has the power in their own little town, and right now we need to start thinking to the point where, okay, we're taking care of our city. Where are we at on taking care of the country or the state? You have to go into levels. If there's a certain, you look at it, it's like, okay, there's a certain problem with this city because it has a lot of pollution, but small town right here doesn't have a problem with pollution. We should go to the city instead of the state. The state should take care of, the state. But there's places to where, like Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, El Paso, those are kind of the big one. Amarillo is kind of up there, only because of oil. But those are big cities that are making a judgment call on the entire state, which they more or less, if you're having a problem with, hey, there's a Dallas lake that's very polluted, shouldn't you be talking to the city instead of the state? And a lot of people don't like understand the chain of command when it comes to government. You ever notice that when you're taking a look at a lot of the news stuff and everything?
All the various hoops you got to jump through, the red tape that you got to cut through, all the various phone calls, extensions you have to dial. You've got to put in a lot of work if you want to accomplish anything. It's not going to happen for you. You're not going to be able to sit back, relax, and expect it just to happen magically. No way. You're going to have to make those phone calls. You're going to have to go to those city council meetings. You're going to have to put in the work if you want to see change. And you got to be there, and you got to be present, and you got to be consistent about it. Otherwise, you're only going to get in, or you're only going to get out of it what you put in. If you don't put in any effort, you're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people
want to advocate for something that you truly believe in, something that you 100%. I'm all in on this. This is it. That you got to stand behind it. You got to continue to advocate for it, and no matter what it takes, of course, within reason, without hurting anybody, putting anybody in harm's way. Then you got to fight for it. And right now, we don't have a lot of fighters out there. Doesn't seem like. We got a lot of guys that like to watch the fight ringside, get the good seats, but nobody wants to get their hands dirty and do what it takes in order for us to take that next step and become better as a society as a whole. But with the right leadership, with the right attitude, with the right mindset, with the right education, with the right culture, and time, we could see if we could make a real difference.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is it would take a lot of time, and they don't. That's another thing that nowadays is everything. I mean, even I am guilty of it. You want your pizza like at your door after you put down the phone. They want fast results, and I was telling somebody when I was doing my investments and everything that how they're like this business went down a lot, and I was starting to research this stuff. It's like they had a couple of stuff down in the pipeline that they were just waiting on, and they finally got the contract. I put like good amount of money. It was through Rolls Royce, and I looked down the pipeline. Rolls Royce at the time was only like $1 a stock. They weren't really big time up there, and the reason why is because most of their stuff is planes. It's not cars. It's planes. Most of their engines are planes, not car engines.
Rolls-Royce engines have been in planes in Europe. Rolls-Royce has been around.
Yeah, and I noticed they were putting in a lot of jet engines on a supercarrier, and now that planes are going back up in the air and everything, the Airbus, yeah, they're doing a redesign of an Airbus, new Airbus. And I saw that was down the pipeline, and I was like, "Oh, I'm putting money in Rolls Royce." And the guy was like, "Well, I can't believe you did that. It's only $1." I was like, "Give it some time." And now it's like up to like $5 or $6. I mean, it's still a big jump.
Sure.
It's not like huge jump. It's not like GameStop jump.
Hey, you know what? Fast quarters versus slow dollars. It's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. But now it's at the 3-hour mark. We can keep on going, but nah.
I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to keep you.
No. My longest one has been about 4 hours. So I'll go a long ways. Like I said, I work nights, so this is like my fun time. I'll probably end up doing something else after I edit this. But I did have a good conversation with you. I'll talk to the other crew and see if I can get you on the sports side of the show, maybe Tuesday. Sure, but yeah, that's your. Let's go over the show again. What's the name of your YouTube channel again?
That's the facts. Russian Jew-Max.
Okay, that's the facts. Russian Jew-Max. Thank you for coming on. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you, my friend. God bless everybody.